Hello, my name is Michael Santos. I am with Prison Professors. I'm also the author of this book, Earning Freedom, Conquering a 45-Year Prison Sentence, or prison term, rather. And I'm making this audio podcast for people who are in jail or prison across America. One thing I know in this era of the First Step Act, particularly for people in federal prison, is that the decisions a person makes early are going to put that person on a trajectory for either success or possibilities of continuing challenges with the criminal justice system, or homelessness, or unemployment, or underemployment. I went to prison in 1987 because of some really bad decisions that I made during the recklessness of youth. And those bad decisions continued after my arrest. And because of those bad decisions after my arrest, I got, as it shows here, a 45-year sentence. During the time that I was serving my sentence, mechanisms did not exist for people to work to differentiate themselves or earn freedom. But yet I found that by listening to leaders, I could find a way to get through that journey with my dignity intact and with opportunities to prosper. And that's what other people can do. I've been out of prison now since 2013, and I've built a career around my journey. And I try and use that to reach that message to reach people inside of jails and prisons across America and help those people understand why it's so crucial to develop critical thinking skills and communication skills. But I never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do. And that's why I am reading this book with hopes that people will be able to follow along and figure out, how can I take some of the lessons from this story and apply it to my own adjustment and emerge from here stronger than ever before with opportunities to prosper. So I'm going to be reading this in a series. We'll be recording it on video and audio. You can get all of that information from our website at prisonprofessors.com. But if you're watching this program inside of a jail or a prison on some of the various relationships that I create, then I just want you to know I empathize with you, I believe in you, and I hope that you will find some strength through this message. So now let me turn to my reading. And just so for those of you who aren't familiar with our program, I don't produce Disney-level productions. I produce what I can as a guy who served a long time in prison. So I hope that you will follow along, and I hope that it will help you make better decisions on your own journey. So let's talk about the first blurb here. This section shows the final moments before my arrest in 1987. I made terrible decisions that led to a criminal indictment. Authorities arrested me. Criminal charges exposed me to the potential of a life sentence. And early decisions would influence my life for decades to come. And here we go with the story. I can feel the DEA agents waiting. I don't know where or when they'll strike, but I know they are near. I have never been arrested before, and I'm scared. My wife, Lisa, sits next to me in our Porsche convertible, clutching my hand. We've only been married for 5 months. She's a glamorous South American blonde who looks spectacular in her form-fitting designer clothes, better still in a bikini. With Lisa beside me, I feel powerful. I have built my life on extravagance and appearances, and Lisa completes the image that I want to project. She is 5 years older than I am, and I always try to appear strong enough for her, man enough for her. I don't want her to see my fear, but inside, I am shaking. Shadowy forces feel like they are closing in, but I don't have a grasp on what's coming. Instinct, intuition, and a sense of impending doom keep crowding my consciousness. This high-flying life is about to change. I can feel it. Lisa and I have just left Miami, where I learned from Raymond, a well-known criminal lawyer, that I've had on retainer, that a grand jury in Seattle just indicted me on drug trafficking charges. Raymond said that my arrest was imminent and that the criminal charges I was facing could include the possibility of decades in prison. After hearing that unsettling news, I followed his instructions and gave him my diamond-faced Rolex to hold. Then I told Lisa how to pay his $200,000 fee. After leaving Raymond's office, I drive us toward the Rickenbacker Causeway that leads to Key Biscayne. Despite my attorney's warning, I am going home. He convinced me that a huge difference existed between an indictment and a conviction. By paying Raymond all the money I've got to fight the case, I am hoping for a fresh start from the mess I have made of my life. I have been miserable for months, knowing that I need to make a change. We arrive at the entry into Key Colony, the private oceanfront community on Key Biscayne where Lisa and I live. The security guard raises the gate, and I drive the Porsche forward. We make eye contact, and I sense resentment in his phony smile as he waves us through. I am half his age, and for the past year, I have driven through this gate every day in my flashy sports car with Lisa beside me, wearing a gold watch that cost more than he would make in a year. Today he is sporting a smug grin. Maybe I am paranoid. No, I shake my head as I accelerate through the gate and turn right. My gut roils with a subconscious awareness that I'll never drive through this tropical paradise again. I park in the garage beneath Botanica, the building where we live. Lisa and I walk arm in arm to the elevator, not speaking. I am alert, watching, expecting the feds to rush me at any second. With heightened senses, I am acutely aware of the salty ocean air filling my nostrils. My stomach churns as I push the elevator button and we ascend. The elevator door slides open and we step onto the top floor. An open breezeway with palm trees and lush, tropical vegetation on either side leads to our apartment. There they are, in front of us. The three men wearing dark blue jackets wait, eyeing me as I approach. "Are you Michael Santos?" they ask. "Yes," I say. And in an instant, I see 3 guns aiming at my head. "Freeze! Put your hands out where we can see them." One of the agents then begins to recite my Miranda rights. I comply with their orders. Lisa steps away from me, gasping. One agent clasps my hand behind my neck as he searches me for weapons, though I have never carried a gun. Then he lowers my arms, pulling them behind my back. I hear clicking and feel cold metal as he slams handcuffs over my wrists. When the agents see that I am not resisting, their tone becomes less hostile. They begin to question me, and, following Raymond's instructions, I refuse to answer. I want my attorney present before I say anything. I am embarrassed that Lisa sees me so helpless, so impotent in the grip of authority. "Do you want to say goodbye to Lisa?" one of the agents asks me. I cringe at the familiar way her name rolls off the agent's tongue, and I realize I am really being taken away. "Michael," Lisa's tortured cry echoes across the breezeway. "Michael, what should I do?" I don't turn around. To see her face would only prolong the agony of the moment. One agent is in front of me. I am sandwiched between the other 2, and I feel hands gripping the chains of my handcuffs. I keep walking with my head down, humiliated. It was 1987, and I was 23. For nearly 2 years, I had been the leader of a small group that distributed cocaine in Seattle. The scheme wasn't sophisticated. Those at the core of our little enterprise were my classmates from Shorecrest High School in the North Seattle suburb of Lake Forest Park. Sensing a huge market for cocaine among Seattle's young professionals, I joined my friend Alex in a partnership to capitalize on it. I found suppliers in Miami. My friend John and his girlfriend, Lori, drove the drugs across the country and delivered them to Tony in Seattle, who stored them in his apartment. Alex coordinated deliveries to customers using Lauren and Rico as local drivers. The shallow layers of people separating me from the actual cocaine fed my delusions that I wasn't really a drug dealer. Instead, I liked to think of myself as an entrepreneur. To the extent that I thought about it, I provided a simple service. No weapons, no violence. My friends and I only sold to consenting adults, so I equated our actions to those who supplied speakeasies during Prohibition. It was my way of glamorizing the scheme to camouflage the severity of potential consequences. The government, of course, saw things differently. Ronald Reagan occupied the White House and was ramping up the war on drugs. I may have previously seen myself as a businessman, but riding through the streets of Miami in the back seat of a black Ford LTD with my hands locked behind my back in the custody of DEA agents left no doubt that I was in big trouble. I thought of Lisa. I thought of my parents. I wondered if my attorney, Raymond, could really get me out of this mess. "So what's up?" Did you think you could run from us forever? The two agents in the front seat switch to a friendlier approach. The driver has carrot red hair, styled with a flat top and military fade. His partner looks hip, wearing feathered brown hair that he holds in place with his stylish sunglasses. They try to engage me in conversation, but I am silent, deep in thought, as I stare out of the tinted windows at the glass-faced, high-rise buildings of downtown Miami. "Talk to us," the driver pipes in. "This may be your last chance to save yourself." I am mute, afraid, sensing that I have reached a pivotal moment. "Alex and Tony have given us plenty already," they tell me. "Who are you trying to protect? This is the time to save yourself." The driver speaks with authority. "No one knows you have been busted but us. Your pals cut sweetheart deals, left you hanging in the wind. Take us to your suppliers, and I'll turn this car around right now." "You don't have much time." The other agent stares at me, tempting me, trying to persuade me. I can tell that he isn't much older than I am. "Once we move forward, you are booked," he says. "Game over. Speak up now, and you'll be able to go home to that pretty little wife of yours." I don't say a word. It's not that I feel an allegiance to any criminal code. As crazy as it sounds, I don't even consider myself a criminal. It is simply that escaping the problems by betraying others doesn't appeal to me as much as the chance for total vindication. Raymond suggests that we can win through a trial, and I am swinging for the fences, going for it. I cling to those hopes, but I am also conflicted because a deep shame seeps through me. For years I have been telling lies, though I am yet not ready to confront the reality of who I am, of what I am. I desperately want to resume a normal life and spare myself the humiliation of having to admit that I am a drug dealer. As the DE agents urge me to confess everything, I think about Lisa. I have come to define myself through material possessions, and she is my trophy. I live a fantasy life with her, locked in a constant struggle to mask my shallowness. Cooperating with the DEA and informing against others to spare myself would show weakness, implying that I lack the wits and enough power to resolve the situation that I have caused. It wouldn't be the forceful image that I have worked so hard to project. So I remain silent, sealing my fate. And that is the first section that I'm going to read from this book. I hope that you will tune in tomorrow, where I will provide another section. I want to turn now to some thoughts for you. I think it's important for anybody who's inside of a jail or a prison to begin thinking about how are you going to frame the narrative of your story, of how you got where you are, and more importantly, where you're going. In what ways can you use your time today to begin sowing seeds for the success that you want to become? Through these many sections that I am going to be reading over the coming weeks, you are going to see exactly how I did it. I will show you through the entire journey from that moment of my first arrest until where I am today. This is now 2000. I'm reading this in 2022. I've been out of prison since August of 2013, and I've built a series of businesses really around my journey. I want showing you this because I want you to begin thinking today about how you can emerge from this challenge successfully with your dignity intact. Now, if you're watching this outside on YouTube or listening on iTunes, I do hope that you will subscribe. But if you are inside of a jail or a prison, please pay attention to what I'm going to be offering here, because this is the pathway for you to emerge successfully. I am Michael Santos, and on behalf of our entire team at Prison Professors, I want you to know that I believe in you. And you can start sowing seeds today for the success that you want to become. Thanks.